Great.
Hello and welcome to the first episode of Speak On It with the Keenan Boys. I am your co-host, Trevor Keenan, and obviously this is...
I'm Jake Keenan. We are natural Lansingers. We've lived and grown up on every single side of Lansing. We've heard a bunch of opinions about a lot of things from other people, and we figured that why not try it out for ourselves?
Might as well give our take on it, so there's no point not to. So we figured there's no better time like the present. Like I said, I'm Trevor. We pretty much, for the most part, like he said, grew up in Lansing. We lived on the north side for a lot of the time. We also lived over on Clifford on the east side, and so yeah, we've been around here for the most part, most of our life. Besides when we came from North Carolina, but other than that, most of the time we've been here. What do I do now? Currently, I'm just a electrical apprentice. I train a little bit on the side because me and him are definitely both into
combat sports. We're both very interested and want to segue into something close to that, either training with it or the big guy over here definitely thinks he has a chance at
doing a little something, so we'll see.
I mean,
we might as well try it, but obviously we got our interest at a kind of a bad time with the coronavirus. Most things got closed, so there wasn't really a good chance for us to train too much, but obviously we have a pretty good background in wrestling. We started out since the time we were 4. Our dad had us at Eastern. I was a All-American for... what would it be considered? All-American in folk style. As far as going to college, I didn't go all the way to college. Just some personal things happened. But neither here nor there, we both have probably together, I would say, 25 years of experience. So.
About 15, 16, 9-ish over here. We figured that the best way to pursue our interests would be to talk about them, which is why we decided to speak on it. We're going to be producing episodes, hopefully once a week, regularly, just talking about stuff that interests us and hopefully interests you. Where we're in my luxurious garage, and we're definitely trying to accommodate the best and trying to make it look the best for you guys out there.
It will get better over time.
It'll definitely get better. Yeah. Hopefully we'll make it more refined than this episode is now.
Right, for sure.
Let's go for our first topic of conversation. How's your day going?
How's day to day? Day was alright as far as work and whatnot. Just kind of a normal day in Detroit. Just doing a little bit of electrical work. Like I said, nothing too special. Just regular 8 and skate. Unfortunately, it was a little bit of a sad thing with a close friend of mine passing, which I'll speak on that at the end of the episode, just to try to keep the mood in a light space for the majority of it, but I will talk about that. So I guess it kind of was here nor there. I was kind of in a neutral spot.
Yeah.
But how about yourself?
Not bad. Woke today, worked out, looked over our little spread over here, tried to iron some things out, figure some stuff out, took another nap,
Gotta get the Z's.
Very productive day.
I gotta get the Z's.
I didn't say it yet, but I work at a child center, and I had a full day of working with little kiddos yesterday. Awesome, and
super good.
Yeah, honestly made dinner, brought us here, and...
Well, and you said you've been doing well, too, right?
Yeah, I've been doing real well. I
might possibly be up for something.
Might possibly be up for Employee of the Month. Who knows?
Congrats.
Let's cross our fingers. I put out some good work today for the past couple days, and hopefully people have seen it. And my work definitely is recognized. So it's good. It can't get any better on that.
Good for you. That's awesome.
So we're gonna segue into our next topic. Feel free to talk about your day, share with others. We definitely want to hear how your day is going. We want to know who's listening out there and how you're doing. It's Corona times. We all need a listening ear, and we all need to speak on it. We have to relay our thoughts because we're not the only people out there.
Right.
We have a lot of friends out there that are definitely here, ready to listen, and
absolutely,
and definitely want to help each other out.
if you see this incredibly cute co-host, this is Cinnamon. She might possibly be popping in and out just to let you know
Yeah,
she's there.
she is part of the listening friends. She has two very sensitive ears, and she's always ready to listen.
Yeah,
Right? Hi.
She's in tune with what's going on.
She's maybe not to us, but she's ready to listen.
Right. So,
All right.
on to our next topic.
What happened this year? What did we lose? Who did we lose to Corona? What events got canceled?
Besides all of them.
Yeah, besides all of the good ones, I just hit a couple of them, and I'm definitely bummed that Debo died.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'll say his government name, so I'm not just referring to him as a character, because he's definitely way more than that.
But a lot of people did know him as Debo, and honestly, he was in one of the most iconic movies of all time.
Hey, he could take my chain for any amount of money. I'd pay him to take my chain. His name is Tommy Little Lister. A couple of things. He died on December 10th, and he was 62. It's kind of a full life. Especially for an actor, an actor. He's been around for a while. He's started off with the Wayans Bros, right?
Yeah,
pretty sure. So, word out to him.
I actually have one just off the top of my head.
Go for it.
Just R.I.P. to MF Doom.
R.I.P. to MF Doom. Book of
Who
War
is one of the greatest rappers or lyricists, whatever you want to call it. However you want to debate it, you can debate it. I'm not going to debate it. It's point blank. He's influenced more people probably than a lot. And honestly, probably more people than you would even understand. Probably your favorite rapper's favorite rapper was listening to MF Doom.
Yeah.
And what I heard is, this is just what I heard. I got this from listening to another podcast, actually, that I listen to frequently.
Want to shout it out?
Just the Joe Budden podcast.
Okay, shout out to Joe Budden.
I know he's sometimes come off ignorant, but sometimes it's great.
Ignorant but entertaining.
But regardless, I did hear, I believe I'm not sure if it's fully confirmed, but rumor is that he passed on, he actually passed on Halloween, and his sources and him kept it quiet till December, the very last day of 2020.
That's crazy.
Yeah, which
especially
I agree.
with the
Which, like I said, not to piggyback off of another podcast, but I completely agree. That would be super MF Doom-ish to do.
Yeah.
If that's true, but I'm not gonna make a joke on it because obviously.
Yeah, it's just crazy it took that long, but
I think. Yeah, like I said, it rumors he wanted it kind of, sort of like that, because he's always been, very mysterious, and so yeah, he was a big influence to me for sure. And even if he wasn't a big influence to me, like I said, he was a big influence to people that I was influenced by.
Yeah, or other people are listening to. Without MF Doom,
your favorite, even your favorite, and I'm not a fan of. The Odd Futures or anything like that too much, but they're all inspired by MF Doom. Yeah, you know what I mean, like Tyler and Earl Sweatshirt, them dudes them dudes bow to MF. You know what I mean, and just like everybody should. So it's like just all across the board.
He was a staple of the industry, and he left his mark on a lot of people.
Yeah. So R.I.P.
A shout out to Herman Cain. A lot of people going into politics that definitely are of different ethnicities. He was one of the first forward spokesmen, at least that I saw in politics. He passed this year at the old young age of 74. He had a very huge life.
What did he pass from? Do you know?
COVID. He passed from COVID.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm not sure if MF passed from COVID necessarily, but I'm kind of sure if
those are the reports that I had heard from Twitter and other media outlets that COVID was a leading factor.
Yeah.
And
okay.
Shout out to our great Aunt Gracie.
Yes.
R.I.P.
She's
in heaven, definitely living it up with the best of them.
One of the best women. One of the reasons and one of the influences for us to do this. We've been talking about it for forever, and her with a few other people are the reason why we're doing this now. So absolutely.
Yeah, she's very classy woman. Probably my mom's best friend and aunt. It's
One of the greatest women.
biggest
For sure.
influence. I remember she brought a ventriloquist doll to our house.
scared our home
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yes, I'm afraid of puppets, but
It was the greatest thing I've ever
yeah,
heard.
it's one of those things where, like, at the time you're scared of it, but when you bring it back, when you recollect on it, you're just like, oh,
hilarious, to the point where even our own father had
He was scared of it.
to grab the doll
Our-
and put it in the back of a trunk because he wasn't going to sleep in a house where that doll was. It was pretty funny.
our dad, who's a Marine veteran, didn't want to see the sight of a ventriloquist puppet in a cowboy suit.
It was pretty.
So-
It was funny.
On events canceled.
She was always cool to me, man. I remember even times when I wasn't doing so hot in school and I had to go to, like different type of school where I started later or whatever. Eventually got back on track, but when I had to do that, me and my mom would come over to her house and watch TV till like 11 or noon. And then I'd go to school, so we'd hang out in the mornings sometimes, and it was cool, so yeah.
Yeah, class act, great personality, and awesome sense of humor. R.I.P. You're gonna be missed a lot.
Yeah.
Some events that got canceled this year, a lot of concerts. Gonna maybe skim over a couple. If a couple pop up to us, we're gonna talk about it. If some mean more to you right now, I definitely want to give you the chance to shout it out.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, let us know what you missed.
And this is our first time doing this. Like, even the intro I didn't even run it by him beforehand. So this is all new to us. So
the UK will be missing the Guns N' Roses concert this year. I love Guns N' Roses. I hope that the people over in the EU enjoy it. Guns N' Roses concert got canceled. The Bieber tour got rescheduled.
all things that I can personally live without. 200%.
You don't care about My Chemical Romance? I like My Chemical Romance. Def Leppard, Motley Crue,
Okay. Yeah.
and Poison's concert got canceled this year. Our mom saw Poison, loves Brett Rogers, got his bandana.
I think I might have been with her.
Yeah, you went to the Common Ground with her.
Yeah. It wasn't as bad as I made it out to
Shout
be.
out to Common Ground.
Common Ground was the bomb.
Common Ground's where it's at.
It used to be the bomb of the bomb.
Yeah.
We'll be on. Let's everyone be honest. It has died down in past years
It's
because
simmered.
it used to be savage. I went and seen Ludacris, and man, it was a time of my life. Going to Common Ground is some of the greatest times of my life. The couple of years I went in a row because they had
MGMT. That
they
was
had,
awesome.
Yeah, they had stellar people. I mean, even dude, I seen Styx and STP,
Awesome.
and I wasn't even a fan of like rock and roll like that at the time, and it made me like rock. When you see a grown man play a piano with the heel of his foot, it'll change the way you think.
Yeah.
You might not like the song, but you respect the art.
Yeah.
form. You're gonna respect that.
Yeah.
Man. It's good stuff.
If a man can foot a real note, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
it was, and he sang
And he sang.
while he was doing it. It was
More than I can do.
It's a lot more than that.
I'll send some feet pics and maybe an auto tune, but that's as
Yeah,
far as
that's not the same.
that's as good as I get.
Same. not quite. You're getting there, little.
For all those people that missed out on the Weeknd's tour, he is rescheduling his tour for the summer and fall of 2021. So
And he is hear rumors he is about to put in work. He is
Hey.
upset that he did not get nominated or something like that. I don't know if he did get nominated, or I don't know if he was upset that he didn't get nominated, or if he
didn't
was
win.
upset that he didn't win. Sorry, I'll do more research as these episodes get better. This is right off the hip. But I do know, I'm pretty certain that he's about to come in
With
strong.
vengeance.
And he said that he's going to be doing some songs that have stuff to do with current stuff, like COVID and shit like that happens. So, I mean,
Hey,
it's
look
gonna,
out. Look
the
out.
Weeknd puts in work.
he, like always, the Weeknd.
One of the one of the goats of doing R&B, at least definitely for his time, 100% for his time.
I love R&B.
For his time.
He shaped a lot of the way that people act in R&B right now. Like,
he sings about things that rappers rap about.
Yeah.
He makes singing cool for people that are too masculine for that. You know what I mean? Like he raps about singing, kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a lot that he can do that I feel a lot of artists try to mimic.
Yeah.
And there's artists that mimic it very well in their music, but The Weeknd definitely made.
And
has
don't
made
get me
his
wrong,
own.
he gets, not that somebody hasn't done what he's doing and saying about like the stuff that rappers rap about. Obviously, T-Pain did it. You know what I mean? He's done stuff like that before, and many others. And I'm sure they're influences of his. But he just does it in a way that comes off real cool, and just real unique for his
authentic
way. Yeah, very unique. You can tell when one of his songs is on almost before he's gonna sing.
All right. On the topic of rap, I set this aside for my man here specifically. I have a question. I hear a lot of flack about the old heads and the lils, and if you don't know out there, the old heads are all the people, all the older rappers that are kind of, I don't want to say spiting, but definitely waving a judgmental finger at the younger group of rappers that aren't keeping it to the status quo that they say, I guess. Keeping it within the parameters of what they believe is rap. And I wanted to hear from you, who do you think was who's the first old head that you heard popping off? And maybe
Like popping off
about Littles. What was the first time you heard
it? Used to be Joe Budden, honestly. And I'm not saying that he's the first, because obviously he's not. He, you know what I mean? He started in like early 80s.
Okay.
Or maybe even late 80s.
Pump it up with D12 and
He's a savage. Put some respect on his name.
He got more than pump it up. I don't mean to discredit his whole entire career.
He's a lyricist. He is a lyricist, but he is one of the people that immediately comes to mind. Just about the fact that he did have a lot of problems previously with the newer generation. He couldn't really understand them and a lot of things like that. Obviously, I don't believe that that's his view anymore. I'm sure.
I know that him and Academics had definitely some back and forth.
I definitely don't care for Academics.
They had some back and forth because Academics is a big advocate for all
the newer generation.
Yeah, the newer generation.
But he's more. But I don't like Academics for separate reasons than I don't like some of the newer generation rappers.
It's hard to judge rap outside the game.
I guess I would have like I said, I would think he would be the first one I thought was really popping off about him. As far as to come back.
Who's a Lil to you? Who was the first Lil? Who was the first artist among this newer generation to start doing these outlandish things, to start creating music that was outside of what you kind of perceived as rap, or considered to be not valid rap, to be by the book rap?
You know, there's a few of those. There's obviously, for me, one of those was Later X. I understand in his past career he was a lot more rappy, but some of the stuff he was doing just didn't and it's my problem sort of with Post Malone sometimes. I have Post Malone songs in my phone that I love.
Good songs.
That come up and are my shit.
Dude,
it's my stuff. You know what I mean? Like, for real. Like, I mean, his feature, him and Big Sean, Wolves. Oh, dude,
I listen to Circles once or twice a day.
Dude, that's my jam. I could listen to that song on repeat at least a couple times. So, like, I say this with putting respect on Post Malone. Like, and I support Post Malone.
The Elephants of the Lion King, bound the head.
I support it. But some of the things you're doing aren't rap. So just say you're an artist. And I guess that's where my problem lies with a lot of the littles. Like I said, the Lil Pumps, the Lil Uzis for me, like
the Lil
for
Peeps,
me, the Lil Yachty, if it's got a little and it's not Lil Wayne, it's probably not for me. Okay. And I'm just gonna be honest. Like, and my reason for that is, even if they're great at what they're artistry is, it's not rap. It's great music. It can be great music, and I can support great music, but I don't feel like it hits the definition of rap for me.
Yeah, it's like doing a
It's
math
like
test.
I would
and
never
writing
say
down your
that The
answer.
Weeknd is the best rapper out.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? He's one of the. I just said he's one of the greatest R&B.
yeah.
If you say maybe you're an R&B artist, or maybe you're a pop artist, or maybe you're a, you put the thing there. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you insert what I'm.
You tell me what I'm listening to.
Yeah, but I don't consider that rap, and maybe that's because I'm a rappity rap guy. Like I like New York style. I
like boom bop.
I like
bap
where
and-
you don't really need a beat all the
Okay.
time. Like I said, I like stuff like Joe Buttons. I like Royce.
I like
You
I like
know,
I like
I like
when
MF
it comes down to
Doom.
lyricists
I like
nowadays.
Rakim, like-
Earl Sweatshirt. I think
I don't
like
listen too much to that.
I
so
like him as a lyricist. I think he definitely piggybacks off of,
JID. JID is one of the new guys coming up. He's super
Right.
young, and he is a monster.
I'll have to
He
listen
is
to
a monster. He's on J. Cole's squad, and he is a monster. He has a song where he said, I'm pretty sure he says some stuff saying like he thinks he might be the best one on the squad, like some type shit. Like, and he is good, real good. So like that's my only problem. I guess that's my personal take with it. I might not have answered your question in the best way, but like that's
No,
my personal take on it. Is I don't mind you doing good music, insert Post Malone, and I'll support good music, insert Post Malone. But
It's
the
not
reason
just to
but
Post, but
it's
still,
no. That's
yeah.
why I say that's why I'm putting in the good.
Yeah.
Like I support it and listen to his music, but he also doesn't call himself a rapper.
Yeah.
He calls himself an entertainer.
No, I
So
think
I'm
that's
fine with that.
I think it's really true to heart to what I guess the old heads might be coming at the newer generation with, is that it's not a disrespect for the song. It's more of an appreciation for the art.
And
If you're not-
appreciation for the definition.
Yeah, if you might not be meeting the criteria of something, then don't say it is something, because the people that do meet the criteria, they
Feel slighted.
They put in the work
Yeah.
to meet the criteria.
Feel disrespected.
They could have they feel like using like auto tune,
Like I
or
said,
maybe
to say that-
onomatopoeia a little
To
bit
say
too
that
much.
JID and Lil Pump are both the same exact thing to describe them sounds mind-boggling
Yeah.
to me. Mind-boggling, and that's my problem with it.
I get it.
So that's my only take on it, I guess,
All right.
or my rough take, I should say.
So, our next topic, it's a little bit of a hard segue. I've been hearing a lot of stuff, at least online, about with racism and a lot of stuff, and talking with other people about where it comes from, how it's made, and a little bit of a background for me. I've studied sociology since high school, and I pride myself in studying it. And
And you did go to college.
yeah, and I got
graduate with
I
a
got an
degree.
associate's degree in sociology, and I think about it every day and philosophize
Right.
about it a little bit. And I was talking to a buddy, and we're talking about he was talking about racism right now, and I gave a little bit input that he liked, and hopefully other people like, is that I think that the stem of racism, at least right now, is off of classism. It's people with the money keeping people that are distracted by racism distracted. It's creating an us-them dynamic to where the people in the in-group can call the people in the out-group whatever, because they're dehumanizing them. And, it's kind of like the money, the people in the rooms that are making these decisions and stuff won't have like people in the lower class talking with them and communicating. It's a structural disjoint, and like kind of lifestyles these two people. Like how would someone who's an electrician be in the same room as someone who's like a speaker of the house? Like, you don't get the opportunity that much, so these people are disjointed. So
Right.
they can say whatever they want, because it's kind of like it's saying behind your back. That's how I feel it is maybe there's a bigger divide in people in class right now, and racism is just pushed to the forefront because it's our base knowledge of our base understanding of us them. It's it was explained to us in school. It's kind of always been there. What do you think about it?
I partially agree because I understand what you're saying. It's like I said, the us them mentality, the people with the power keeping the power from the people without. However, I do feel that there's quite a bit of racism going on all across the board.
Yeah, I'm not saying racism isn't a...
No, and we're making that very, very clear. Like, we're not, neither of us are saying that racism doesn't exist. Let's be the clearest. I have personally had things, we're not going to get into it, but he's seen and just that I have personally had things happen because I am brown that wouldn't have happened. And it just is what it is. We're not going to touch on stuff like that because it's just not what we're doing. We're not going to dwell on things like that. We just speak on it and move on. So, what I'm trying to say is, all I'm really trying to get at is, to rebuttal you is just like, I kind of agree a little bit, but I think there's a lot of racism right now. Like, I don't know if we were planning, is this kind of, I don't know if we're kind of trying to talk about the Capitol thing at this point too, or
we're gonna segue into the Capitol, obviously. But
the only reason I say that and kind of switch it up is because I'm just gonna be honest. All these people stormed the nation's capital.
Yeah, that's
if you would like to go ahead and show me how many of those individuals
that's privilege.
I'm just being honest. We're just stating facts. If you would like to show me how many of those individuals were of colored or any other ethnicity besides
what was displayed there.
Like I said, we're not a political
we don't mean to cherry
podcast. Not a political podcast. We're just kind of touching on topics that are up at this point.
So
this is something that was up. So that's why I said it. Just I don't think as many people would have been safe and unharmed if they looked similar to us. Yes. And that's just my honest opinion. And if that makes somebody mad or something like that, I apologize. It's just my opinion. But I don't think that people that were brown or black could have stormed the White House.
Would have had the opportunity to protest in such a manner.
I don't think that could ever happen. I mean, not even I don't think. Clearly, we've seen protests happen, right? That didn't go so well.
Kids getting sprayed.
That didn't go so well.
That's not.
So I don't know. So
to reiterate and kind of not gloss over, but to make sure that it's clear what I was saying is that classism is the base foundation of where racism is. And it happens like across the board in different areas, like our relationship between Native Americans when we colonized this place. We put ourselves in a different class with supplies and stuff, and then we created the other. Or like how Northern Ireland, Southern Ireland is, or how South Africa is to the rest of Africa. It is these people that are in power creating these classes and creating racism across the board. It's structural racism. That's kind of the term for it. It's racism created by the society.
Yeah, I agree that that's definitely happening. I just feel like at least at this current point in time, maybe I would feel more strongly with your opinion before the George Floyd, before the Black Lives Matter movement. I feel like maybe I would agree a little more with your opinion.
Racism is definitely there.
I just at this current point of years, the last fuck man, it's hard. Sorry to say, it's hard to say that with how much racist stuff that's happened, but at least with especially now is how I should say it, especially with the current things that have happened.
There's been a
lot.
There's been no loss of racism all the way across the board ever.
And maybe it's because phones and stuff are more relevant now.
Globalization.
Maybe that's part of it. But
it's made the world bigger, but made the world smaller socially. Everyone can talk to you. Everyone can share opinions. Even if the opinions might seem ignorant, someone can share the same ignorant opinion and create a fallacy, a justified group of people that can all agree with the same opinion. And like, if I ask 10 of my buddies if something's correct, I'm gonna think it's correct. Like sometimes, and like these are a bunch of people
well,
that
if the majority is
Yeah.
decent, and not to
Yeah.
say that anybody is a follower by any means, but a lot of times the majority of people, when you pick them from different places, obviously if you cherry pick a bunch of people
Yeah.
with white picket fences, they're all going to think the same way. But if you take one of them plus one of us here from the hood, you know what I mean, that didn't grow up with nothing, plus somebody like maybe, or I don't want to say we didn't grow up with nothing, but didn't grow up rich, I should say that, didn't grow up rich, and you know, somebody maybe a little bit better or whatever, worse, whatever, and somebody that was homeless, and all of their opinions were that, then that should tell you how it should kind of work. You know what I mean? Like,
it's the justification of someone's belief system because other people are saying you're right. It's not stemming it based on some moral or ethical, like, hey, this is right because like it's not harming anybody. This is right because it promotes life. Like it's saying something's right because it's an opinion of like-minded individuals. And if you only hang out with like-minded individuals that don't check their ethics or morality,
you'll never better your horizon.
Yeah, you
and
won't
never
broaden,
progress
you won't
like
make
that.
yourself a
So, yeah.
more holistic person.
Right.
And being more holistic and broadened, I would like to pin off that and talk about toxic masculinity. We talked about that the other day, and
And would you give the kind of definition? What is that considered exactly?
Yeah,
Just so we're both on similar playing field on that.
yeah, I have
Because I kind of think I know what it is, but at the same time, you know what I mean. I don't.
Oh, definitely. I'll bring it up right now.
Yeah, just like the definition of it.
So, toxic masculinity is the concept used in academic media discussion of masculinity being referred to certain cultural norms that are associated with the harm in society, the harm to society and to men themselves. So, if I could summarize it,
Dumb it down a little bit for me.
make it not so wordy. I
Yeah.
don't enjoy like when
Yeah,
people
that
hit me
was
up.
that was word
But
garbage.
yeah, that means only as much as you thought about it.
Yeah.
But so basically, it's the cultural perspective of what it means to be a guy, what it means to perform the role of being masculine, of doing masculine things, not being a guy, but doing masculine things, doing things that are attributed to being male. Females can do it too, you know, that's why you got that tomboy perspective. Obviously, like, nowadays it doesn't matter. Like,
It really doesn't.
it doesn't. Like,
I could care one way.
no, but
or another,
toxic
honestly.
masculinity is more what guys are doing right now that could be seen as toxic because it was a trained culture of
That's fair.
how to be a man. It's trained, and sometimes, like a dog, if a dog isn't trained the right way, like it doesn't know. It's ignorant, and
That's
if you're
fair.
ignorant to something, it's like air. You
And
don't
that's
see
really,
it.
and that's really so. What? Sorry, what was the question? I guess again.
It was, what is toxic masculinity like?
So I guess, man. So that's hard for me.
Like,
To
what are some
answer
forms for you?
because-
Like, how have you experienced it? Have you ever been critiqued for like something masculine you do?
Yes.
Speak on it.
I mean, not to get like super, deep or anything like that, but like that was a big issue, I guess, with me and my ex, was that she thought a lot of the time I was a little bit too much, had too much bravado, or came off too masculine. In situations, not towards her ever. I've never been an aggressive person like that.
definitely.
But obviously, but just to be clear, but like just in the way I handle situations. And actually, over time, if I have to be honest, they're like looking back and trying to self-reflect and always trying to get better. That is something I've had to work on, because I do think that's something that some people do. Some people might do it on purpose, and then it's very disappointing because you're trying to put on a bravado. But sometimes it's because of situations. So it's very hard to tell somebody to change just off of the bat,
to turn it off.
because like I said, some of us didn't grow up in the greatest of neighborhoods. I'll just put it that way, and also, like, you know, my dad was a Marine, so he
Develop a shell, develop a bark,
So
develop a bite.
He taught us to try to be as tough as nails, and then be tougher than that. You know, and it's just what it was. That's not us trying to brag or that nothing. It's just the facts. My dad wanted us to become quote unquote men. You know, so
you're the hammer.
And that was
you're the hammer. You never want to be the nail.
And like I said, that mixed with kind of where we grew up and how I grew up for a lot of the time made me this person that maybe in a situation where I could have came off more calm to an individual when an incident happened, I might be more prone to want to be physical, or maybe not even. Maybe just say it. Yeah, I'm just coming off extremely aggressive.
To set a boundary in an aggressive or confrontational manner,
and
because you don't want this outside situation
and
approaching
be very military about it too. Like I feel like there's been times where I've been very direct and very military, and it isn't because I'm trying to be a boss, and it isn't because I'm trying to be like that. Sometimes it's just what I know, so it's just what I bounce off. So I think you're gonna take the way I take it. Because in our family, what we say is just said. Like, it's just not. It's after that, it's gone. It's poof. It's words. It's like what it's supposed to be. Words only give them the weight that you give them. So if you just let it be oxygen, it's just oxygen. Yeah. So in our family, after something's said, it's dead. Like, it's gone.
Yeah.
So we never try to carry grudges in that way, at least in our household, towards ourselves. Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's always constructive.
So yeah, I just don't. There's things that, like I said, that people come off certain ways that could definitely be toxic masculinity, with the aggressive nature and some of that. And obviously, like I said, that's stuff that I've done in my past and probably still do that I'm trying to work on. But just remember that some of it isn't all on purpose, and it does have to get changed over time. Some of it is taught, you know what I mean, and not to put shame on my dad's greatest human being ever lived. So not putting any shame ever on that dude, because he's the man. Yeah. You know what I mean, and we both agree.
The guy.
He is the
shout out Graybush.
The guy. Silverback gorilla. Yeah. The guy. But you know, we were just taught we were raised a different way, you know, and I'll just put it that way. We were raised a different way, we were raised in a different time, and we were raised in a different place. So we were
raised to walk every side of town.
You might talk to somebody that grew up in the inner city that comes off, that might naturally going to be more aggressive than somebody that grew up out in the country, because looking over your shoulder all the time sometimes makes you aggressive, because it's feed or famine, and I don't mean that to try to over accentuate or be dramatic or dramatize our situation by any means, but in some senses that is how you at least think, or how you think you're supposed to think.
Yes. You know, if it's between another person and you getting home, I guess the other person's going to get pushed out of the way right now, because that's how it's been for me at sometimes, where like I tell everybody, like, I come off very nice to a lot of people. I say, grew up walking every side of Lansing. And they're like, oh my God, how would you do that? The people that aren't from here, obviously. Yeah. And it's like, well, I know how to walk. I know how to walk. I know how to put on a face where people walk. They either respect my boundaries or they respect my word. And then if someone has approached me or said something, I will be very stern to a person and make sure that person knows that I am not up for any situation that is going to be brought up, because I have a destination, and that destination is where I'm going.
Right. So some of it is toxic masculinity, and we're both admitting to that. Yes. But some of it is situation based and can be curved, or is trying to be curved. It's like I said, it's just the time and place in which we were taught. I don't know, but I can't speak for every other man. But in my personal opinion, that's kind of why I can speak for myself, maybe not you, but in my personal opinion, that's why that I sometimes come off that way, because I was raised that was the way that you come off.
Yeah, and I'd like to say a couple say some things that aren't toxic masculine that pop up in my head.
I do hate when people cry for nothing.
They are, if you like this is what something I'd like to put in the forefront. It is okay to cry. It's okay.
Absolutely.
It's okay to cry when.
Cried yesterday.
Yeah, when you're sad. When you're really sad. When you're sad, it's okay to cry. Get it out. It's okay to cry when you're overjoyed. Your wedding comes, firstborn, your child's born. You accomplish a dream. Cry. You've earned it. It's okay to cry when you're hurt. You break your leg. I ain't gonna laugh at you for crying. Like,
right.
There's a time and place to cry as a human being, and I guess it's a maturity thing where people get it mixed up with this toxic masculinity, where it's like, hey, you need to cry like an adult, not like a child. A child cries to get something,
to get attention.
Yeah, to get attention. As an adult,
you should just get it out.
Cry as a release.
Yeah. I said, I cried the other day because of some stuff. And I can think of times where I've cried in a good sense. Like when I made it to States for high school, I cried. I grabbed my dad and cried. Call me what you want, say what name you will. It is what it is. We can throw hands later. You know what I mean? But I cried. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. I've cried for sure. Absolutely.
Isn't it Jimmy V? I mean, don't bury me if I say this wrong. He said if there's a day where you don't cry, laugh, dance,
full day.
Sing, then it's not a full day.
Yeah, that's a full day.
Like, and I love.
And he was amazing.
Yeah.
He was a great person. Another
shout out to him.
Amazing. That was lost before. I feel like way before his time because of cancer. But yeah, you're absolutely correct in that analogy. So yeah, there's times where I cry sometimes, and it's like I said, it does not mean it's a bad thing. But with that being said, crying over everything all the time
doesn't fix anything.
Is ridiculous, and I do see a lot of that happening with people nowadays. And maybe it's because we were raised a different way, where you just kind of get over it, you get up, and you figure it out.
Yeah,
that's always been like we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And guess what? It might not always be great the way we get through it, but we get through it. We make it on the other side.
Very
we always
resilient.
do. And I don't think that a lot of people have that same mentality. They would rather be sad about it and wait for someone to try to save them.
Yeah. And there's things out there that are like, hey, if paying for a bill when you take someone out isn't toxic masculinity.
That's just me being nice.
Yeah.
But if you tell me you don't want me to pay, that is so cool.
Oh yeah,
that's
if you want to pay for me, I'll get the appetizer and the dessert. Like,
I don't know if I'm gonna do you as bad as he's gonna get you, but like, if you don't want me to pay for your meal and you want to pay for mine instead, I am cool.
But we were raised to try to be gentlemen.
Yeah.
Treat the person you love as if you love them. Open every door, because they're there.
And we were raised to treat women in a different way that might also be considered toxic masculinity. But like you said, you women and children first. That was always my dad's women and children.
Friends. I open doors for friends.
Absolutely.
Everyone I respect or that I want to relay respect to, whether it be a friend or a stranger, I open a door for. Absolutely. It doesn't matter if you're a male, female, or if you're green and blue. Like
that's the way it should be.
Yeah, I'm gonna open a door for you because I'm relaying this respect. You're a human being. I notice you're here.
And I'm that guy that gets caught. I just did it earlier. If any of you see me at Speedway, what's up? I was going in there to use the restroom and pull out some money, and I got caught holding the door for like 6 minutes while somebody waited because
you get caught.
I got caught, and I'm one of those people where if I see you in my eyesight,
I'm waiting.
I know because I caught your eyes. So like this,
I can't do you like that.
Yeah, I had like 4 people come through, and then like a little bit bigger, older lady. She was like just done pumping her gas or whatever it was coming out of her car, and she like made eye contact, so I held it the whole way until she came. So I was at the door for like 5 minutes and like 5 different types of after working an 8-hour day. Like construction.
That's not toxic masculinity. It's just hard out here to be polite.
Yeah, I was like, man, I gotta keep it open for her, dude. I gotta do it because we made eye contact.
So yeah, those are some things that we thought of. If there's anything you do or anything that you perceive as toxic masculinity, definitely say in the comment section. those are things that came to my mind, came to his mind. Obviously,
Yeah, we're just kind of popping up little spark notes. Like I said, this is the first time through, so we'll have a lot more notes and other things as the episodes go. Yeah.
Next up, Super Bowl picks. I got a little bracket over here. We're gonna Super Bowl bracket picks.
We're gonna break it down week by week, just verses by verses, and go that way. I'm gonna give my opinion, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't really paid a lot of attention to sports this year because I was obviously with everything that happened, it kind of turned me off to the sports. It kind of turned me off to sports this year just with the COVID for almost all sports. So, but I will give my opinion at least the best I can for the moment.
How it's gonna go is I'm gonna say a team. Well, say 2 teams.
Yep.
I'll let you speak on it, and then I'll probably give my pick. I watch sports, but I ain't the biggest stat junkie, and
I used to be,
and I don't.
I used to be. I used to be a couple years
and
ago.
I don't have an index of all players, but I think you're pretty educated on at least what team has what team can do.
Yeah, I'll try my best.
So the Colts and the Bills. Josh Allen's Bills versus Phillip Rivers Colts.
And what was their records? It doesn't show, does it?
It does not show it right now.
So
but
we got Josh Allen and the Bills versus.
I believe the Bills did better than the Colts.
Versus Andy Dalton and the Colts.
Yes. Well, no, actually, that's Dallas.
Is it Dallas?
Dallas is Andy Dalton. Phillip Rivers is the leading quarterback of the Colts. Philly.
Okay. If I gotta keep it a band,
if you're betting me $200 right now on this, and I have to pick the other team, how are you making $200? Who are you making $200 off?
I'm taking Phillip.
Phillip?
I'm taking Phillip because he's the vet. This is probably
he's got time.
This is probably like one of his. This is probably one of his last seasons.
Make it or break it.
If not, might be one of his last season. I'm just
to argue he's up for one of those.
I'm just assuming. Oh, he'll make it in the Hall of Fame. I don't know about like first time, second time, third time Hall. Like
he's got stats.
I don't know. He does. He does, and that's why I'm gonna say that I'm gonna pick the old dog in the fight because I think that he's gonna want it more, and he's out here and he's gonna look at that quarterback and be like, "It's a one-on-one battle, and I don't think you got the heart, kid."
Yeah,
I think that's how it's gonna go.
Yeah, I definitely think he has the mentality as a quarterback to. He has the team.
He is the Brett Favre right now.
He has the team mentality. He's like one of those team quarterbacks.
Yeah, he's like Brett Favre right now.
I was listening to a shout out to Stone Cold Steve Austin's show where he takes out celebrities and says, "Oh hell yeah!" And you can look it up on TNT right now, and it's on Hulu. He takes out celebrities and he took out Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, Baker Mayfield. I don't know why I just came on my head, but
with the Browns quarterback.
Yeah, he took out the Browns quarterback, and he said something very insightful about him, saying that some quarterbacks are stars, like star quarterbacks on their own,
right? And
some quarterbacks are star team quarterbacks,
right?
And I think that Phillip Rivers is definitely one of those star team quarterbacks who knows that the team.
And mind you, he's been a star in his own before.
Yeah, he's a veteran mentally.
Yeah,
he knows how much effort he has to put in, but he knows how much effort he has to put into his team.
Yeah, his time. Yeah. I think he's going to appreciate his time a little bit more there. I don't think he's going to get engulfed in the moment, obviously, by being a vet. I think he's going to really try to rise to the occasion and put one under his belt.
He's been there.
Has he won? Has he won a Super Bowl? I want to say he has, but he.
I honestly don't think Phillip Rivers has won.
Then that might even. Yeah, I'm saying that before. Yeah. If that's the case, then even more so now.
I'm gonna disagree with you here, but only because I've heard the hype train that Josh Allen is, and the kid got an arm. He's got legs on him.
But has he ever went to the playoffs?
Last year.
He went last year.
He went last year.
How far did they make it?
I don't think they made it far, but I think Josh Allen has put a lot of work in this year. He's put up a lot of stats. He's remained relevant, and maybe he's became a better team player this year, and he's not going to combat Philip on the team player aspect, but maybe he's gonna throw something in there that's gonna mix up how the Colts play. I think
He could.
But other than that, how do you think the Ravens versus the Titans will go? The Titans, however, I believe they have Derrick Henry. They have
the Ravens have Lamar Jackson.
Yes, that's my thing. It's gonna be a hard one. It's
Dude,
two highlights.
I'm Ravens all day.
Don't miss the game.
Oh,
don't miss the game.
I'm
Ravens all the way.
Yeah, I'm Ravens all the way. And Derrick Henry's a savage too. But I'm Ravens.
The
all
Ravens
the way.
defense, a renowned defensive.
Lamar
pinnacle.
Jackson is like a crazy like Madden made quarterback. He just runs around. He reminds me kind of like Vic. A little Vic.
I remember when Vic was on. Was it 2006 with the Eagles?
Or the Falcons? Was it the Eagles or Falcons?
I believe it was the Eagles. He was.
I know he did the Falcons first, and then had a situation, came back.
I know that he was on the cover of an Madden NFL game with the Eagles, and our uncle always used to pick Mike Vick because he was the god in the game.
Yeah, you couldn't beat him. How you beat him? And that's kind of what he is now, which is almost more surprising, just because the level of athleticism, clearly with the new age training, the supplements, the proper optimizing of your sleep and rest schedule, the things that the dudes that were brutes in the 90s just obviously didn't have that, weren't privy to that
used
information.
To just eat protein and lift.
That's what we used to do, and it worked for a good while. Now I don't even.
This is my first year drinking a protein shake.
Now I don't even eat red meat. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't no soy boy, but
I ain't no soy boy. I eat red meat.
I'm not saying
But
that.
anyways, but no, the crazy thing is, just like I said, with all those things in the favor of people that are coming up now and with new technology and all that to help you train, it's even more impressive that he can look like Mike Vick with people that might even, dare I say, are more athletic than the people that Mike Vick were facing. Obviously not all, because Mike Vick had Terrell Suggs and Ray Lewis and Troy Polamalu and Brian Urlacher and Ed Reed and I could go on. I could give you a couple.
Yeah, there ain't no slouches.
I didn't have a great all those were pretty good people that I named out, and that was just a spitfire. So obviously there ain't no slouches, but I'm just saying, if those guys had the same type of schedules and things and protein and whatever XYZ, etc., they would probably be a better athlete,
a better caliber athlete.
And they were already
top tier,
the toppest of the tiers, So,
so I definitely believe that the Ravens are going to beat them.
Yeah, for sure.
I believe it off of the opinion that Lamar Jackson almost took our father all alone to the fantasy football.
And he has
finals.
a curse.
Yeah, he has a curse. If this man makes money off fantasy,
I think he has once.
He has one. Oh, his first or second year.
He has
second
once, but
second
I don't
year.
think he's done super great since.
He took our dad to the finals last year, almost alone.
Yeah.
Finishing off the AFC, Baker Mayfield's Browns versus Big Ben's Steelers.
Oh, Big Ben. They were undefeated. Weren't they at one point 10-0? Yeah, there's no question. Plus the experience. Granted, I know Baker's a seasoned quarterback now. He's no longer a new.
Yeah, he's playing like a kid right now.
But you ain't gonna play with Big Ben. His squad, he's gonna throw him on their back, because I feel like he is kind of, and this is no disrespect on his name, Big Ben all day, baby, Steeler train. I was a big Troy Polamalu fan, super huge Troy Polamalu fan, and Hines Ward fan.
Yeah.
Sorry, now I'm just coming up with. Okay, I do know more than I thought I did, but regardless, no, he's in a similar bracket that I put.
Honeycomb Bennis.
Yeah, he's in a similar bracket that I put Phillip Rivers in, to where he knows, and everybody else knows, he doesn't have a great amount of years left. I'm not saying this is last year. I'm not saying the next year is his last year. I'm just saying that he ain't gonna keep playing he ain't gonna be here in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, for certain. And
Yeah.
that's no disrespect. So and
He
I
eats
think
tomatoes.
and I think he knows that. So he's gonna will that team, and they were killing it for
Yeah.
like the whole season. So yeah.
I nothing against Baker Mayfield, and I think he's a great person. I think he's a great athlete, and I think he's really developed and made the team his own. But I've seen Big Ben playing this year. I've heard a lot of what's been said around him, and they're saying Big Ben's playing like it's his this year.
That's what I'm saying.
He's
Anytime
playing,
you're 10-0, you're playing like it's yours.
he's playing like an educated quarterback who not only knows but needs this playoff. He knows he's going to get it, but he knows that he needs this not to justify his career because he doesn't need to, but to justify the fact that
Because he's a champion.
To
He
justify
wants
the fact
to
that
win
he's-
every year.
that he played this year, and that a lot of people are out there and they're looking at these highlight quarterbacks that got wheels. But you can't forget about old Big Ben.
In the pocket, baby. Like he's still
He
a
plays
pocket
the
quarterback,
pocket, and he pushes people off.
And like I said, a lot of that knowing that just feeds back into my point of saying he knows that there's an emphasis. It's an emphasis on the fact that he doesn't have a lot of years left, and it's not that he needs to solidify his career because his career is solidified in stone. He is one of the greatest of all time when it comes to being a quarterback.
Yeah.
However,
And being a playmaker.
whenever you play anything, and this is just coming from me, and I was just a halfway okay wrestler that did some high school, a little bit of college, and some freestyle here and there. It wasn't nothing special, but I'll tell you what. We play rock, paper, scissors. We get on a wrestling mat. We're doing who can draw the circle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, whatever competition you're deciding me and you are doing, it's not that I'm trying. It's not because I need to solidify that I'm better than you. The competitive nature in me wants to win at whatever. I mean, me and Jake could flip coins, and I'm gonna want to pick the right one.
Podcast idea.
I'm gonna want to pick the correct thing that it is more times than he does. 100%. And it's not because I think he needs to know that I'm better than him. It's because I'm a competitor at heart, and that's what he is. So any season he plays, his goal is to win the championship. And now that he's this close, he's like, I don't know if I can get this close this many times more. So that's I would say he's gonna.
I definitely believe Big Ben is.
He's
I believe
gonna
he's gonna win this game, and I don't want to hold my tongue, but I believe that he might, if they verse whoever they verse on the winner of the Ravens or the Titans, if they win, they're definitely going to give that team a really hard time. Give them a hard time no matter what.
Absolutely.
On the opposite end of the bracket, Chicago versus the Saints.
You know, I don't have. Unfortunately, I don't have a big take on those two. I didn't really.
Take the lead on it.
Yeah, I didn't. I know Drew Brees is with the Saints. Besides off-field issues this year, putting that aside, just talking about his athletic ability. I was not trying to get too political or anything like that. I don't know if you knew what happened with him this year.
I have no idea.
All right. Well, we won't get into it too much.
I like the sport.
Maybe that'll be a separate topic at another date. But he had an incident at one point in time.
Okay. Something to distract him from the game.
Yeah, something that made people say he wasn't cool. Pretty much. Like, he said some stupid stuff.
Foot in his mouth.
Even though he became statements, he said some dumb things. But regardless of that,
spotlight's on you.
Just talking about his
on him, not you.
Yeah. Just talking about his career, resume. The guy's a winner. Clearly, I'm pretty sure they were close to winning a couple years ago, if not like last year or something like that. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So, he's always been stellar. They still got Kamara Usman.
Alvin
Kamara. Sorry. What?
Kamara Usman is the UFC
fighter. Wow, I'm all over the place.
You put him out there, he might put Drew Brees in an armbar.
Yeah, he's gonna be done. Hey, after the comments, he'll get that armbar. If you knew if Drew Brees said Kamara was like,
if he can break Colton Covington's
my bad.
Mouth, he'll flick Drew Brees in the clavicle, make him explode.
If I had to put money on it, and I wouldn't want to because I put no research into it, I would bet on Drew Brees. Which unfortunately is kind of like my take for a lot of this. Is a lot of my money is on the veteran quarterbacks and the senior players because I just don't. I don't know if these guys are battle tested. You know, I haven't seen their stripes yet. I haven't seen it.
I'm definitely gonna take the betting favorite on this one and say that the Saints are probably gonna win this one. Yeah. I'm a longtime Saints fan. I predicted the Saints first win Super Bowl.
You did
the first game of the year. First game of the year, I predicted the Saints. I walked into the living room, straight face, looked over my dad.
Before Jake had any interest in any sport whatsoever. He didn't like to watch it, nothing.
I looked at the team, and I looked at how the first play, and I was like, the Saints are going to win the Super Bowl. And they did.
Yep.
But, hey,
it's true.
Not no oracle, ain't throwing no chicken bones on the table right now.
But it happened.
But I will say that this year, the Bears have struggled with their quarterback position and having injuries in the quarterback position. And I don't know the recovery process.
Weren't they on like a third stringer at one point?
Yeah, Nick Foles.
Yeah.
And
Nick who?
Nick Foles. I'm pretty sure. But they went through all their money pieces at the quarterback position, and I don't know if they've really repaired from that position, nor have they given whoever's in the leading spot enough time to adjust. They've obviously made it here, and they deserve their spot.
Yeah.
But when going up against a high-caliber team like the Saints, you have to be 100%. You have to be at your best, and you have to have the players in the right spots to perform, because the Saints don't slouch.
Yeah, and they're very, at least what they used to be, they were very all-around sound. It wasn't a team where they were going to hit you with a bunch of 50, 40-yard passes. They were going to hit you with 10s, maybe a couple 30s, but mostly 10, 15, 20-yarder at max here and there, and they're going to run the ball well.
And with Alvin Kamara,
inside.
You haven't even mentioned him yet.
That's what I'm saying. They're a very sound team, and that's just kind of what they've always been. That's kind of always their playbook. You can always get that from them. It almost kind of reminds me, especially with the colors and with Drew Brees coming from Purdue, it kind of reminds me of that hard-nosed Purdue style. Just they're very... it's one of those teams, again, similar to the Steelers, where you just, when that team's going into the snow or the rain, they might play a little better. You know what I mean?
Shout out to Green Bay for making their last opponents play in the rain, play in the snow.
Loving it.
Pull them to your arena, man. Get the W because you like playing football.
Yeah,
these kids out here want to play.
Right. But back in the day, you used to relish when it would rain.
Yeah.
If it started drizzling before practice and you looked at coach and he said to still get out there, you were excited because you were going to be hitting harder, you were going to be running harder. Like I said, same with a little bit of we're in Michigan, clearly Lansing. So there was times where I would go to practice for high school football. And it'd be pretty chilly, you know what I mean? I don't know if there was necessarily snow, maybe. But
I remember the rain days. It was the funnest. Rain days.
It would be cold and rainy or whatever it was, and it would rev us up to play. So, so I always like that type of hard nose, type of characteristic or whatever you want to call it.
You came out here to win at football. You didn't come out here to play the game statistically. You came out here to win the game.
And it's football.
Yeah.
I came out here to assert my dominance. There's not a lot of things. There's very few
without
sports.
Any contest.
There's very few sports in my personal opinion, and football is starting more and more shy away from this. And basketball definitely shied away from it, you know what I mean? But there's very few sports where I am coming out here to assert my dominance, not to be disrespectful, but just because that is what it is.
Yeah.
I put in the work. I know how good I am. Now it's time for me to showcase. It has nothing to do with you as an opponent.
Yeah.
You just happen to be here, but I'm about to show everybody what I can do.
Hey, if I put a 300-pound lineman in front of you and tell you that the only way that you do well on this play is to throw him to the side and get the person behind
Then
him.
I guess he's got to go.
Yeah, like
it just is what it is.
yeah, that ain't toxic in one bit. That's
And
just
that
me.
might be us coming from our wrestling background where it's like, hey, it's just me and you. It's nothing disrespectful, but I ran these laps. I missed out on these dinners. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I missed out on these parties. I missed out on hanging out. It has nothing to do with you anymore. I put in the work, so I deserve this result. And I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get it. Why? Because I can. There's no risk.
Yeah.
There's no roll of the dice. No. You put in the work. Yeah. You do it hard.
You want to be the undisputed victor. You don't want someone looking at you and be like, if you didn't make that 80-yard yada yada,
Yeah,
if you didn't do this trick play, I mean, you want to win. No, you want to be the indefinite winner, and you want the other team going home.
So I like that.
going home
I
like, hey, we need to work on X, Y, and Z because they
They're
dominate
better.
X, Y, and Z.
They are better, and I like that type of play.
So, we're talking about the possible projected MVP of the years, Russell Wilson's Seahawks versus the LA Rams. I'm sorry for anyone that's a Rams fan out there that I don't have a name to associate with the LA Rams. I just didn't keep a spotlight on them this year. But obviously you know what team I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick the one I'm more educated on, the one that the one that at least the beginning and the middle of the year, people are arguing about Russell Westbrook being the MVP of the year because he got slighted last year, not even being mentioned as the MVP. So he came with fire and vengeance this year to put on a show, and the show he did.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I would have to agree with you wholeheartedly. I didn't watch a bunch, but I did hear that he was doing his thing.
Sometimes you gotta prove it.
Doing his thing. So I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of keep it short on that one, and I'm gonna say that I would put money on the Seahawks.
All right, and now the long-awaited Bucks versus the Washington football team.
You mean Tom Brady?
Tom Brady's Bucks versus the Washington football team.
All right.
Versus I'm
right.
I'm
All right.
blanking on his name. You probably can pull this guy's name out of your head.
All right.
The quarterback for the Washington football team had the long recovery road. They kept him on the roster. This was his first game playing this year.
All right.
Almost died. He's a Rudy in himself. He's
All right.
come up kid.
Here's what I
versus
gotta
Tom Brady.
say about this, and I'm sorry to squander any of the importance of what you had to say, because we get ignorant. And we're gonna let something be known on this podcast on day one. All right. There's one thing.
Oh, do you want to let him know too?
Thank you, son of a-
Thank you. We got to insert it.
If there's one
What's
thing.
that one?
If there's
What's
one
that?
thing.
Okay.
If there is anything that you get from this podcast, anything at all, just know that me and my family do not support Tom Brady in any way.
I eat tomatoes.
We're gonna try to not cuss as much as possible, but just know our normal saying is insert bad word Tom Brady. We completely have always hated Tom Brady, especially when he was with
the Pats.
with New England. I still am not a great New England fan, but I will always root against Tom Brady. I don't care who. If you've got Satan and all of his angels that came from hell versus Tom Brady and the Bucks, I'm still throwing 5 on Satan.
Yeah. Beelzebub gonna run 10 on him.
I refuse.
10 TDs.
I refuse to root for Tom Brady, even if our humanity was at stake.
Yeah.
I am not a Tom Brady fan. Maybe it's because I'm not the biggest Michigan fan, with exclusion to the Michigan wrestling team, because I watch a lot of wrestling and that's always been my thing. But we weren't raised big Michigan fans, so maybe that's where it comes from. But I always remember us not liking Tom Brady.
I've always been a team person. When it comes down to team sports, I appreciate people that better their team, work with their team, and Tom seems like he plays favoritism to me.
I just think
And
that
he-
I
I feel like-
personally, and it's and here's my thing that I've said, and being all realistic with it, all jokes aside, I obviously do not I'm not a big fan of him, but all jokes aside, giving him his credit,
Yeah,
he is a good quarterback. He is one of the greats. But here's my reasoning and my problem with him. One, I think Bill Belichick is indeed a genius. I have always thought he was really smart, besides the weird cutoff sweatshirt thing that he does. Other than that weird thing.
Other than pneumonia, he's smart.
Other than that type stuff. But I have always thought he's pretty smart, especially his outtake on the media. But like anything like that, he's a smart dude. I really think he is. And he's got championships under his belt to prove it. So A, I think a lot of credit goes to him. And B, and this is the thing, I can't, here's my problem. It's the problem that people will also have with LeBron James. I can't discredit him for all of his wins. I can't. And I can't be mad that he was born later than other people and later than a league that I considered more real football, a more pure game of football, a more brute game of football. Maybe that's just because I like that, but I think that's what football was supposed to be, and I think that it's shied away from that. So I can't discredit him because of that, but at the same time, I can't put him in the same league as the Joe Montanas, as, you know what I mean? Like, as guys name it. Like, just, there's no way I
Or
could...
even Favre. Like, Favre got tore the hell up.
Favre got toe up, but, like, Favre's era maybe stops it. His Green Bay era, I think once he kind of went towards, like, Minnesota, it got a little bit softer maybe. But, like...
That's the reason he went out of the league. He got all the time
like
torn up.
Montana, just the Mannings, like just all the Peyton. Like I just don't think that. I don't know. And maybe Peyton. I can't consider Peyton maybe technically because he's more in that Tom Brady era too. But they just didn't face the type of league that other quarterbacks before them faced.
They didn't face the competition and intensity that was allowed.
You just didn't. You know, they didn't face that type of stuff. They didn't face a dude literally ripping your face mask off, regardless if I'm saying that it's safe, legal, non-legal, whatever.
Yeah.
That's what those other quarterbacks went through.
Yeah.
They had guys pick them up and launch them, and I'm a freestyle wrestler. That was a 5-point toss.
They won in spite of that.
Dudes. They would throw guys around, and they would have to get up and throw the ball after that, and know that because now people are just trying to get a paycheck. They want to win in the NFL. They want to win, but they don't want to kill you.
Yeah.
No, those dudes back then wanted to kill the Steelers. Steel curtain and all, or I think the steel curtain was defense. Like and like the Bears. The Bears, there's no way you can say that those guys were like wanted you to go home okay. There's no way. Like those guys were getting told that to break your leg in the huddle.
They're out there to hurt the star player by any means necessary to make sure that the game is easier to win.
And in those times, there was a lot of times where people get caught for getting paid in their contract to target people. Like they would literally have, if you break this guy's whatever, insert whatever, here's $2,000-$4,000.
It's like the hockey goon.
Yeah, so it's just like I can't discredit his wins, but I can't match them up with other people.
There's an asterisk next to the level of intensity,
and it's not his fault.
The level of intensity that was allowed back in those days, and the level of physicality that was allowed back in those days, not positive or negative physicality, because I don't want to put in the sport's the sport. But
who am I to speak on a game that I played in high school? I'm no expert, whatever. Like maybe I couldn't last a day. Obviously I couldn't last a day as an NFL anything because I've never made it to the NFL. So he is clearly more of an athlete than I, and I'm not discrediting him. I'm just saying when you put him in the presence,
I might be able to pass a couple water bottles.
Yeah. I'm a towel boy all day, baby. I got you all day, son. I'm like
the ball polisher.
Yeah, I got you all day. I'm Gatorade, son. I got you. Yeah. I got flavor. But like, other than that, I credit him. It's just I can't put him in the similar GOAT category, and maybe that partially is the reason why I dislike him so much, is because people put him there without.
He reminds you of a softer football.
Yes, absolutely. That might hit the nail right on the head. Yep.
And on that note, hey, this has nothing to do with my like or any opinion on Tom Brady. I think the Washington football team is going to beat the Buccaneers. I think that the come up story. I'm definitely blanking on his name. he's gonna be more than he is. Their quarterback, whose long recovery is his bout with death. That dude has a statue of the cast he had on his leg, and as a trophy, as that accomplishment. And the fact that Washington kept him on the roster and he made his whole recovery and he's been playing all year and made it to the playoffs on his first year back.
That's awesome.
Like, you tell me a story that doesn't end with him at least making it to the quarters, the semis. Like, he doesn't fizzle out this one, because this year it is written that he's gonna beat up a team that he's not supposed to beat up, and he's gonna be in the net.
What better headline than Tom Brady?
Yeah, he's gonna be
Gronkowski.
Yeah, he's gonna be the new dude pulled up. He's gonna be
nice.
what they wanted Garoppolo to be.
Yeah.
He's definitely gonna take the position of what a lot of people thought Garoppolo was gonna be, and it's like, oh, he's the next. Somewhat of a athletic quarterback that is pocket based, but semi-mobile.
Right.
Yeah, semi-mobile with a previously messed up leg.
Right.
So I definitely think that if anyone can beat Tom Brady on the whole roster,
it's that guy.
On the whole roster, I'm going to give you every single team up and down, and maybe foot in my mouth right now saying Steelers and all those people. On the whole roster, if there's a more poetic win, it's that man versus Tom Brady. The man who has everything versus the man who earned everything.
Who's not to say that Tom Brady didn't earn everything, but
he has everything right now.
Exactly.
You can't take anything away from Tom Brady because he has it.
Yeah, I feel that.
And it's versus the man who made it. And the come up story is honestly, I'm a
really
fan of a come up.
Yeah, always.
I'm a fan of a person that puts the work in, and
always have been.
And I definitely think that hard work beats talent every time.
Every time.
Hard work beats talent when talent
doesn't work hard.
Yeah, it doesn't work hard.
Every single time. You can have talent, but you don't put the hours in, I'm going to crush you.
Yeah, it's a mesh of those things.
I'm going to crush you.
So our next section right now is new and well. I definitely have a story for this. If anyone's heard about it, definitely give your 2 cents.
Okay.
Have you heard of the Bean Dad?
I have not heard
It is
Bean Dad.
It is Twitter's new victim.
Okay, I usually am not on Twitter because it is quite toxic. And
yes, I'm an avid looker, never a poster, and I only do it just so I can get a laugh. I look at Twitter as I look at like The Onion or Reddit. Like, I look at it and I look at
goofy real quick.
I look at it when I need a quick fix. So like, oh man, like I'm going to the bathroom. I want to hear something ignorant, real quick. But not going to say his name. But he's a podcaster in himself, and said Bean Dad, how he got his name is his daughter had walked up to him with a can of baked beans and a can opener.
Okay.
Tin can, and was like, "Hey Dad, I'm hungry for baked beans." And that father, in his own words, saying, I saw this as a great teaching moment. And his daughter, I don't think she's too old for this, but he told his daughter, he's like, "Oh, so do you know how to open that can?" And she was like, "No, you need to open this for me."
Right.
And uttering "you need to do this," he thought to himself, well, why wouldn't I use this opportunity to be like, "Hey,
teacher,
I'm gonna tell you how to open this can. I'm gonna not show you. I'm gonna tell you how to open this can. It's a can opener. It shouldn't be that hard,
right?
Not mechanically, at least. But he told her, "Hey, when you open the can, we'll cook the beans." 6 hours later, she's sitting next to him, wailing, crying. She opens the can by herself, and this man praises his daughter online. Yada yada, and he makes the foolish mistake of saying to everyone, it took her 6 hours. I feel like if he took out the time, and he definitely wouldn't have got the flack they got. But a lot of people around the media are calling him the Bean Dad and saying it's abuse. How do you feel about it? And I will tell you that the time period between lunch, noon, and dinner is 6 hours. The time period between every meal is 6 hours.
Right.
What is that? Is that bad? Well, no, not is that bad, but
So she hadn't eaten in 6 hours.
No, there's food in the house. He made sure to say that there's food in the house that
she just couldn't
eat.
eat the bean.
Yes, if she wanted to eat this can of beans, she had to open the can of beans.
But she could eat other food.
Yeah, he said.
But in that case, I don't consider that abuse whatsoever. I think that's a teaching moment, and who's to say that she was sitting there trying to do that consistently? She's a child.
Kid.
I'm an adult, and my mind shoots everywhere all the time. Even right now, while we're speaking, I'm thinking of 5 different things. So who's to say that she wasn't crying a little bit, then did something else, maybe even ate or whatever, and then tried, and over the whole span, it took 6 hours. I don't think that that's abuse, especially considering the fact that there was food in the home. Like and maybe that's because my definition of abuse is probably far from what your definition of abuse is. But for me,
I'm including mental, psychological, physical.
For me, I don't think me saying, "Hey, you want the can of beans opened? Open the can of beans." And especially considering the fact that it's a clip and a crank. And so let's be honest here, a lot of people don't even know the secret. You can do it either way. If she would have put it on top and did it this way, it rips off, and sometimes it rips off even nicer that way. So you can use...
My buddy who's a nuclear engineer, he does the beans around that way.
Yeah.
So
I'm just saying.
Maybe he knows something I don't.
I'm just saying. You could do it both ways, and it works. So, like... I don't think that that's abuse in any way.
Yeah.
Considering the fact there was food in the home, she could have ate, and
the intent.
And she's a kid. Yeah,
he wanted to teach. The fact that he was saying, "I want to teach my daughter something." It's not like, "Oh, I want to teach her by hitting her."
Not to be
I want to
dark at any moment. But if that man passed at any moment, and she doesn't know how to open a can of beans for herself, you mean to tell me this person is going to survive and thrive in our world not knowing how to open up ravioli?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna make it successfully without knowing how to open up refried beans. That's what you're telling me?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a necessity. I'm just saying that the fact that you don't know just feels like it would be a domino effect.
Yeah, it feels like I felt like it'd be a disservice.
Absolutely.
At some point, if mom and dad didn't, I was never taught how to open beans. I figured it out. But
I just figured it out.
But if I was never taught how to do something like that, like I'd definitely walk up to mom and dad like, "Hey, like beans, where'd that fall?"
And they would have been like,
"Yeah, we dropped the ball."
And the thing about it is, our parents are like that. If we ever asked them something like that, how to cook something, I think I'm pretty sure that's how it happened for all cooking. My mom never sat there and said, "Hey, today I'm going to teach you how to cook." You know, today we're going to teach you how to cook Mexican food, or today I'm going to teach you how to cook Italian, or today I'm going to teach you how to cook insert whatever. We would just watch her do it and pick up on it, and then you do it, and that's just what it was. There was never a conversation about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think it's abuse.
I don't think you not coddling your child doesn't come off as abuse to me.
I don't think it's abuse at all,
personally.
And our next new one, our next in the news.
We're doing that. Yes.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of backlash and kind of, I guess, some stirred up beefs and stuff. As of late, I don't know if you noticed really anything.
I'm trying to be more on the media now, but I'll try in the future.
I'm not super in it. Obviously, I subscribe to a couple podcasts and do my little bit of part to try to stay within the realm of the world and universe. But I'm kind of secluded as well. But so I'll kind of give you the timeline breakdown. I guess in a interview, Snoop. So I'll give you the little bit of the whole little breakdown. In the interview, Snoop Dogg said some things. Snoop just kind of said, you know, he doesn't put Eminem in his top 10, which is fully fine. And
to each his own.
And says that he could live without the music. That's, I guess, is fine too. To which Eminem ended up responding with a verse in his song Zeus on Music to Be Murdered By, B-side. It's kind of new, pretty new.
Shout out.
Pretty new.
Shout out if you like
Side
it.
note, the B-side, it's really good. I like it. I'm not gonna lie to you. The verse is okay. I'm not gonna say that the verse is his most stellar verse, but it is an okay verse. But he basically responded, and then he even did a interview afterwards saying that all the things that he said were fine. He just didn't understand why he was getting this type of tone, the tone that Snoop Dogg was coming from, considering the fact that they come from the same.
Sound like he was his antithesis. Big old words.
Yeah, and they come from the same camp.
Yeah,
it was really what I feel like Eminem's hurt by, is because obviously they're
Call him
all
Kettle Black.
they're all in the Dre camp. Yeah, he was saying things like, Dre made him, which obviously no disrespect to Uncle Snoop. Snoop is one of the greatest of all time. Without him, we wouldn't have the game as you know it.
Yeah.
But the same could be said for Snoop as well. I'm saying they both have that same parallel or that same correlation with Dre, where you don't know where their career would be without them. You just can't say, because the impact of Dre is so enormous.
Yeah.
So that's where you had kind of his problems with that. Snoop gave him a couple bars on a little verse, I think, that might be coming out. But what it kind of segueing into is I watched a video of the chat house conversation, which we're not supposed to be able to watch stuff like that, so whoever recorded it's kind of a chump for doing that, but thank you. And it was a bunch of dudes that are, quote, end quote, because I really hate people trying to be the crypt keepers of the culture and things like that, because you can't be. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
You
don't
hold the keys to the culture. You just don't. And that's just my personal opinion on that.
We're the people and you're a person.
So moral of the story is, I believe it is the founder of Source Media magazine, Dave. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on his last name. Dave something. He's important.
Hey, he's the founder.
What I kind of was getting from it is him and another person that's name under there was of Mouse were really trying to say that Eminem needed to be out of the culture. He didn't deserve to be there in the first place. How he was diversifying the culture and drawing people away from rap, and just basically a bunch of BS. And this isn't me coming.
Do any of those people rap?
Exactly, and this is coming from a person, not from a Eminem fan, which I am an Eminem fan, but this is coming from a person just saying it was just a blatant racism. It's just blatant. Their blatant thing was had a problem with him being white, and it just really caught me off guard how ignorant it sounded, because it just sounded so backwards for
in the wake of what's happening right now.
And for people that
seem like people would be
for people that are brown
open.
And for people that are black or whatever your ethnicity is. It just seemed like they were trying to reverse it on him. Like, they had the power, almost like you were saying, people with the power versus people not with the power. They're trying to keep something from someone, which is just the reverse way around of what's going on normally. You know what I mean? It caught me. I guess it was exciting to me to know that, like, Royce is so down for his dude, because he ended up, just snapping off and just being the guy. And there was others too. Just Blaze was in there. King Los was in the chat. He put a little bit of. He didn't really say neither here nor there how he felt about Eminem necessarily in the music. He just kind of put in a couple words of wisdom and stuff. Mm-hmm. And there was a couple other people that were in there. Person by the name of Glasses was on the thing. Like I said, this is our first time. So, but those people, including Royce, were very adamant on saying, you know what I mean, like, what are you guys talking about? And it was really cool to see them have that stance and them take this guy and that's being, just getting slandered basically and getting pushed to the side strictly because of color, regardless of whether the color is white or black. It's still not even in the room. It's still not the right thing to do. And I'm just saying that, like I said, I'm saying that from a Hispanic dude and a half white dude. I don't care if you're black and you don't like white people. that shit ain't cool to me. And if you're white and you don't like black people, that ain't cool to me. And if you're insert and you don't like browns and you don't like whatever's, that ain't cool to me.
If you're something you don't like another thing, just because it's another thing?
Just strictly because of color and not because of merit or character, I will always have an issue with that, regardless of what the color is versus the color. I don't care what it is. So that I've always had a problem with that, and it was just real cool to see him stick up for his homie, and so that's something that's going on.
It was refreshing to know that
that's something that's
there's
going
people
on.
out there that have the that not only have the position, but they have the peace of mind to speak up for their friend.
And so that
their friend against other people in the industry that may or may not have
so
talent.
that's just some beefs that are kind of brewing. I don't really think the M and Snoop thing will kind of I think that'll fizzle out personally. I think it was blown out of proportion to begin with.
Let's cross our fingers for the
so.
boxing match.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, but the celebrity death match.
Oh yeah,
that'd be great. But yeah, I think it'll fizzle out.
They both
but
fight Mayweather and then they both fight each other.
Yeah, you never know. So that's just some kind of topic news feedy stuff that I seen today. So
I mean, either way, like if there's anything else in the news that happened this week, happened weeks prior, like we'll definitely keep an eye on that little Snoop thing. I don't think the Bean Man thing is gonna do anything. He's not gonna make his daughter open any
It's not like he's gonna tell her she can't eat until she cooks a filet mignon.
Yeah, and like I definitely hope that she doesn't starve over opening a box of cereal.
Yeah, that'd be savage. That would not be good. It would be
all jokes aside, no one should go hungry.
Yeah, that'd be tragic.
But on our next topic, eating. Kind of segues with eating. We're going to talk about health for beginners. At least I can say I'm trying to be healthier right now. I'm trying to start somewhere. I've been a little bit of an athlete, but same as my brother. And the hardest part is starting.
Yeah.
Starting, getting on a regimen, depending on who you are.
Yeah.
And sticking with it. I'll share some stuff that I thought, and like, I definitely want to hear what you have to say. Right now for me, I'm big on the intermittent fast. Setting times where I know I'm gonna eat and times where I don't eat after. It helps me with self-control, and that self-control relates into my workouts. Like, if I can structure my eating, I can structure the way I work out. I work out twice a day. I do push-ups and I do sit-ups and side crunches, and I stretch before and after. I emphasize stretching the older you get.
Right.
Even if it sounds corny at first, it's way more corny to pull something when you're at the gym than it is to stretch out at your home.
Yeah, you go trying to get that long stride in front of the missus you've seen at the gym for a while, and you pull something. Well, she ain't coming home with you. It's just not how it's gonna go.
The only digit she'll give you is the middle finger, and that ain't nice.
That's not the one you want at all. So,
but yeah, I find it's way easier to work out twice a day between my intermittent fasting and I've taken this little tidbit of information from George St. Pierre's trainer, the acclaimed MMA GOAT. You need to train within your bounds. You need to train so you can train every day. Every day that you plan on training, you have to show up. If you overtrain, you need more. If you overtrain, that means you need more rest. That means you miss more workouts. That means you slight yourself more. If you are able to show up to practice every single day, consistently and be able to show up with the same amount of energy, the effort will amp over time. The amount you'll do will go up. Your productivity will go up. But if you hurt yourself training, then there's more days in between. So the person who trains within their bounds gets more reps in throughout the year, and the person who overtrains gets more rest days. So you're on your butt more if you're training too hard. Now, what do you think?
My personal opinion with that, I would agree, but the problem with that is a lot of people don't
push themselves.
Push themselves. They don't understand what that sentence means. When he says that, because I've seen the video where he says that. When he says that, he means push yourself within your boundaries. That doesn't mean till something hurts. That doesn't mean till you're tired. Just because you're tired or something's hurting, that doesn't necessarily mean that's your boundary. Just because you feel like your arms are on fire and you're going to die because you're on your 11th push-up, and guess what? You got told you got to do 20 more. That doesn't mean, that's not what Jake means by overtraining, again, maybe you can only do that certain amount or whatever. I'm just giving an example. Yeah. I'm saying for a normal human being, just in good health.
If something seems like a Herculean feat,
there's a different, we always had a saying, in every sport, are you hurt or you're injured? Because being hurt is different than being injured. And kind of the same way with your training. So if you're trying to keep yourself within your bounds, that's full fine and dandy, but make sure that is at your max capacity. That is your bound. Don't stop because you're tired on your third lap when realistically you could get a fourth one in. You just are going to feel like you're gassed out of your mind. It's okay to push yourself like that. It's just, you know what I mean? I agree with you, just as long as people understand the difference between slacking consistently and pushing to your max consistently, your max. And I feel like
if you show up and give a half-assed effort, then don't show up. That's kind of that was always our practice mentality.
So we can go more into depth on health in different episodes. I'll just kind of keep it short for this one. Yeah. Like I said, we can maybe even go into like what you're trying to get, what you're trying to work on personally. Honestly, I've been on both ends of the spectrum. There's at one point in my time where I had a six-pack and was as fit as I could get, at the time without almost being sick. So, and there's also been times in the recent years where I've been up there close to 365 pounds.
I've been in.
I think that's what I was like a year and a half ago almost. And I mean now I'm down to 250 pounds. So we can get into which spectrum you're working on, because I went to school just for a little bit for kinesiology. I've always been super interested in it. Obviously, we worked out our whole life. We cut weight, water weight, everything, things like that. So at least I have. I know Jake has as well here and there. So I could go more in depth. It just depends on, I guess, what you're trying to do. But overall, the main things are, you should make sure you're getting a decent amount of your vitamins. You gotta get some vitamin C, gotta get some vitamin D, and obviously gotta get a little bit of greens. I'm not saying to be a vegetarian, but I'm also not saying to be necessarily a complete carnivore. Like I at one point I was eating a ton of steak. Now I've slimmed down. I'm not gonna say it's solely because of my lack of red meat, but I'm only eating red meat two times a month, maybe 3 a month. I primarily, so just things like that. Cut back on the sugars, cut back a little on the red meats, the salts, the sodiums.
Balance your plate more.
Get a little greens. Push the waters.
Especially right now, it's winter. You're sweating.
Push the waters.
You're sweating. You don't know it. Every time you go outside in wintertime, I'm with kids all day.
Yeah, you gotta.
They're outside. Hydrated. They're running around, and the first thing we do when they come inside is you gotta drink water. They come in right in the face. Your blood rushes to your face.
Push the waters.
Yeah. Water gang. But
so really, that's just the kind of the basic stuff, and make sure you're doing. Personally, myself, I've just with the weight I lost, the way I've lost it so far is I take the dog on a run in the morning about 3 a.m. Nothing crazy, a few blocks max. I'm doing a couple miles.
Stretch yourself out before work.
Yeah, pretty much. Really, honestly, I do that. I do like 60 to 75, like crunches or core workouts. Maybe I'll do like half of it as crunches, the other half I might do as V-ups, something a little bit more extreme, or so. Like I might hold a V position in bicycle. Every 5 is considered 1 rep. Sometimes I do weird different stuff like that, But, and I do, probably about the same, about 50 to 75 push-ups in the morning. So, and unfortunately with my career, I don't have time to work out as much as Jake does necessarily.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. I do my run in the morning, my push-ups, my sit-ups. I keep good on my meats and my waters. And at night, I do another set of push-ups, another set of crunches or sit-ups, and that's it. And that for me that's working enough. If you start there, that'll work for you. Like again, If you're pushing around your body weight, it's the best thing that you can do
Yeah.
for yourself. It's the best thing you can do. I mean, it's great to lift weights, and believe me, I'm a gym rat when I get in there. I love being in the gym. I love to throw some weight around. Trust me, anybody that knows and has seen me go to a gym knows that I love to throw some weight around. That's not me saying I can throw a heavy amount. I just am excited and enthusiastic to be there. I love being in the gym. I can be there for hours.
It's an experience.
I love it. I can be there for hours, doing different reps, different types of exercises, different muscle components, the whole nine yards. So, but all I'm saying is, I got to the point that I'm at with lifting weights by lifting my body weight, by doing the crunches, by doing the push-ups, by doing pull-ups. Once you're able to do 10, 15, 20 pull-ups, then you can go into the gym and it's fun because then you can throw up, start throwing weight around as opposed to be struggling with weight that you feel like you should be moving around a lot more.
Yeah.
So I would say, just start with the regular stuff, the basics.
And it's a lot less I would say intimidating to start with your body weight than it is to start in a gym. When you start a gym, and this is why Planet Fitness has, I believe Planet Fitness did this wrong. They call it a safe zone, but it's an unsafe zone for people that want to work out. Like, you're not allowed to bring a gallon of water in there. You shouldn't.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you're not allowed to bring a gallon of water. You're kicked out for drinking water too fast. You grunt while you work out, you're asked to leave.
I get that they don't want meatheads there, but that does sound a little bit too
I don't
much.
want to hear someone grunting, but I don't want to hear someone grunt.
And I'm going to be honest.
I don't want to hear it.
And I'm going to be honest. If you're not being excessive, it's different. Like now, if you're on your first set and you're like me and you're a 250-pound guy that's decently...
if you rack up all the weights there,
but what I'm saying is,
asking you to leave.
if you're a 250-pound guy and you're on your first set there of 100 pounds, don't grunt. But if you're on your last workout and you're on your last set and you're pushing your hardest to get up 350 pounds one time, I feel like you pushing through your max and grunting through and exhaling, that's fair.
You kind of earned it.
That's fair. You've earned that, exactly. That's not being excessive. That's just you're pushing through. You know what I mean? And you're not allowing people to express themselves, because I'm not going to be able to go there and try to push my max weight, because I'm going to feel like I'm not no meathead. I'm not over here grunting, and I don't want anybody to really be looking at me while I'm working out or anything like that. But my last set, if I'm pushing real hard, a noise is going to come out. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to be exhaling, and there's going to be some type of it's just how it's going to be. So I feel that. Yeah.
But either way, these are the ways that we would start. These are some things that we do, we've implemented in our life. And other than that, that's kind of how we'd start working out and where we begin with it. The next portion is our hopeful highlights. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Alrighty. So
Hopeful highlights.
these are things that have made me feel good and whatnot. And things that hopefully will make you feel good.
Okay.
I'm gonna start with the me thing. I like to be a little bit what do you call it? Selfish from time to time, if you may. So the gaming company, and this is I'm a long time fan of this gaming company, the SNK Corporation. They're the creators of King of Fighters and the Samurai Showdown. So King of Fighters, I would put it as the fourth greatest Xbox fighting franchise. Base Xbox fighting franchise. Okay. And they've produced. They're coming out with it. Well, they came out with their trailer today, and they're real neat people in the fact that they're eccentric when they come out with stuff. When they debuted today, they only put the King of Fighters 15 as their debut trailer, and then after that, they put more tidbits of information. I believe it's in Japanese. I don't fully quote me on it, but they spoke in Japanese, and after they did that trailer, a couple seconds went by. I tapped on the video. It's a 10-minute video. I'm on 2 minutes of this video. They come out with King of Fighters 14 Ultimate Edition.
So it's a remaster.
Yeah, a remaster of the last game.
Okay.
And the remaster of the last game, more characters, more stuff, and a bunch more content's been added into it. And for all those Xbox players out there, they linked with Games with Gold, and that everyone who has an Xbox gets King of Fighters 13, the prequel to 14, the Ultimate Edition that's going to be coming out before 15. So,
Nice.
if you like it, you're interested in it, look into it. And for you PlayStation players, they are also coming out with King of Fighters 2002 edition, with the largest roster being offered right now of 66
Sounds like
fighters.
you're pretty stoked on
Oh,
it.
dude, I'm
Hype.
over the
It sounds like
over
you're
the
hype.
moon.
Yeah, it
over the
sounds
moon
like
that
it,
they're
dude.
that they're doing this stuff. That they brought back a classic. They brought back and they remastered a favorite. Well, they brought back a classic with new characters.
Right.
There's new characters in both games,
Right.
and at the end of that, like there couldn't be any more. Samurai Shodown, their sister fighting franchise, produced in the same company, is getting more characters added to it.
Nice.
So, if you're a fighting game fan, or if you're a fan of just something fun, look into it. If you have an Xbox, get the
It's
game,
already
try
there.
it out.
Right.
It's free. It'll only take 13 gigabytes. Don't quote me on it, but it's not that
Give or
big.
take.
Enjoy it. It's a good party game. Have fun. If you're a PlayStation fan, I definitely recommend the classic. You can't beat a classic.
Right.
You can't. Or if you're just a fan of good times, look into the stuff for yourself. It's my opinion, and I'm excited for it.
Well, that's awesome.
And on to our next topic. It's gaming news today. So, Apex has new stuff.
Like what?
So, there's controversy in Apex. There's not controversy on this side of the table with the news I'm going to say. Caustic got a buff.
He's better?
Caustic's
rap.
bombs have a lower cooldown. You can throw out his bombs way quicker, and they come back way quicker.
Nice.
Uh,
People are mad about it?
Yeah, they think Caustic's too good.
You know what's funny about that is everybody thought he was lame. Nobody wanted to play with him. There was like me and a handful of people that I knew that would even play the character. And all of a sudden, because everyone thought that he was super defensive, and I guess I'm kind of nerding out in the sense because
He's strategically offensive.
this is the only game I necessarily play, and
He's good.
Jake can say that's like one of the only video games I play. And yeah, I have used him as an offensive character since the jump. I mean, I breach with him. I'll toss a bomb in a room and shoot it just in the middle of the room just because I know. Like,
Yeah.
there's things you can do with Caustic, and so it's just funny that everybody thought he was lame because he was quoted as a defensive character, but when me and other people, maybe not me, because there's people that are actually good and actually stream, but when people started seeing in games that they were getting beat down by a Caustic,
2-on-1?
3. There's been multiple times, and I'm not toot my own horn because I am nowhere. Eddie, you can ask anybody. I'm not a good gamer. Not
You
there's
get lost in the plague. And
there's maybe 2 or 3 games where I'm like, nah, I think I got this. And Caustic 2v1, I think I got this. Especially if we're inside, I think I got this.
Yeah.
Like I think I'm good to go every time.
If you're inside, you're at least getting some items.
I mean, there's countless times where I've swept a whole squad of 3, and it was not as hard as it should have been. So, yeah, I'm always for Caustic.
On top of that, the other legend getting a buff is Rampart. I'm happy. Hey, her cover's getting buffed.
Oh, more cover? More damage?
I don't think it's more damage. I think her cover's getting more armor, so you can't break it as easy. As a person that plays Rampart, it really bums me out when I see her cover go down. Hey, wanna go the other way?
Come here, Lewis.
Come on, follow. Thank you. And they're doing different inventory-ish management stuff. I don't know exactly, but there's something different with inventory now, and then the ultimate accelerants are their functionality is getting some sort of a tweak that is to be shown.
Yeah.
I believe that the Fight Night is out as of now, so the changes might be implemented or they might be within the next patch.
Oh, so it might be the next season. They might leave it for the
Yes, yep. So Fight Night collection event in Apex,
January 5th,
January 5th,
which
it
is
is already.
yeah. So
So you've already seen those changes. What do you think about them? Do you like them? Do you dislike them? I'm sure
clearly, I'm gonna have to
I'm sure he's
download
gonna
the
enjoy-
buff and get myself together. I've been so mixed up with work. I'm gonna actually have to get back on the
So
system.
so if you find a house with rampart traps and a caustic where that's smacking on you,
If it says
alright.
Careless Poet, just know
Yeah.
you're getting gassed.
But, well, yeah. What do you think about it? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Are you part of the people that are outraged at caustic? Is he too good? Do you not think he's good enough, or do you think he's just right? Feel free
It
to
could always be better.
feel free to speak on it. So now it is time for the most important part of our show.
Yes. So
We're doing
I
our
would
shout-out.
like to take a moment to dedicate the time, and really, at least my half and my part, to dedicate this part to D. Daryl Gaines. He passed on Wednesday morning, I do believe it was. He was unfortunately killed.
Mm-hmm.
The suspect, I believe, was found, and he was just one of the closest human beings to me, regardless of how much we were speaking recently. I mean, he always kept me out of trouble, gave me some of the best advice I've probably ever had. He was a veteran. On top of that, loved everybody that he met.
Yeah, he treated me as a friend day one and real
As
class
friend
act.
and family.
Yeah.
And honestly, to be real, he's one of the main reasons I'm actually doing this podcast thing. We've talked about it for years, and he's my deciding factor to push on it. He's always had the utmost support in everything I do. So I'm going to shout this out to D. Daryl Gaines.
You're up there living it up like the class act you are, and you know, we definitely hope to see you one day, and you know,
Absolutely.
we'll definitely raise the glass in your honor, and
Yep.
and we'll live.
And it's celebration, not to be
No.
too dark at any
No, we're not
moment.
being cryptic about it.
But like I said,
His life is to be promoted, and
Absolutely.
and you know, he's one of those lights in the world that I'm glad I was able to see. I'm
Yeah.
glad you were able to experience him as a friend, and for anyone out there that has had someone get passed over this long period of time,
we're sorry.
We're sorry, and feel free to give your shout out to that person. You know, there's a lot of class acts that have passed this year. There's a lot of good people that have had either similar situations happen to them, or even with this coronavirus. There's a lot of
Careers, economic struggle.
a lot of unnecessary, unwarranted things that have happened to great people this year. So like, give a shout out to them. Give a shout out. Praise all the people you like. Hug the people you love. Tell them you love them.
Yeah.
If someone changes your day, tell them I was at work. I'd like to give a shout out to the HR person at my work. I've been having a hard week. Been having a couple hard weeks with our aunt passing.
Everything.
Being in Corona.
that's another
You're
one.
just inside. You're inside. Shout out to her. Of course, we said her early on in the podcast.
And sorry if
Grace.
it seems that I didn't have as much of a reaction towards her as my friend. It's just that my friend was just more recent.
Yeah,
That's
it
really
was
it.
super recent. We've had
I haven't
to
had
let down.
time to. I've had time to digest one of those. I haven't had time to digest the one that was most current.
But yeah, shout out to Nicole, my HR worker. She's one of those types of people that always has a listening ear, like you and me, to each
Right.
other. And not necessarily that she has to, not that anyone has to have a listening ear, but you know, it's good to have a person that wants to listen. Good to have a person that wants to promote the best you. And when I was struggling with our aunt passing, she had the good grace of saying, "I know you're going through something, and I want to give you time so you can come back and be the best Jake Keenan you can be."
That's awesome.
And you know, that's one of those things that you don't get. You don't get enough people that genuinely care and want to listen, and definitely stick their neck out for people. And there's a lot of people out there that you guys definitely know who your person is, and they don't hear enough.
Yep.
Tell that person.
Please tell
I told
them
my
because-
person yesterday, and I felt relieved that I was able to tell someone that how they affected me for the better.
Absolutely. So
shout-
that's awesome.
Shout out.
Yep.
Shout out to Nicole. Shout out to Grace. And definitely a shout out.
Definitely shout out to D.
Shout out to D.
Absolutely.
You know, at the end of at the end of Speak on It, I had the idea to just kind of ask, what we learn? What do we want to learn? We're like, is there anything you want to speak on like that? What did you learn today? What did you learn anything today? Did you figure anything out in the podcast, or do you want to learn anything?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that what did I learn today? What did I learn today? I learned that Roy's story today, and you know, kind of obviously I kind of knew how his roots ran deep, but it was very cool to see somebody stick up for their person. That was nice to see. I also learned that it seemed like that it seems like people need to everybody's got to calm down a little bit. Like, there's so much wanting to be revved up. There's so much wanting to have a reason to fight. And I'm not saying, trust me, anybody that knows my rap sheet, they know I've gotten in my fair share of fights. But what I'm saying is, have your reasons. And right now, people
don't light your torch before you thought about it.
Yeah, right now, I just don't think that some of the punishments that people out there are trying to promote fit the crimes that have been done to them or are being, So all I'm going to say is I've learned that people are kind of trying to fight before they have the real reason to. It's just to take a second and chill out and really sit back and think about it. I know I'm saying that and every day we get wiser and older and better at it, so maybe I wouldn't have had this take a year ago or last week, but just take a second, because you don't know the ramifications of what people are going through or what's going on regardless around you. So just take a second and really assess your situations before you decide what you want to do on them.
It's your life. You only have one body, one life. Use it the way you like, and get the most out of it.
Yeah, don't be mad for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And that's something I guess I learned and was seeing as of late, and that's something I guess I wanted to speak on. So.
I've been there. Thank you for sharing that. That's definitely something that emotion-wise I've learned through this process of Corona, that the first emotion I feel might not be the right emotion for the situation. But always give your time to feel the emotions that you're feeling.
Yeah.
Give your time to palate, contemplate what you're feeling.
Yep.
And on top of that, something I learned?
What's that?
This wasn't as hard as I thought.
It wasn't. The beginning of it was a little bit of a stumble, but I feel like we got a little bit more comfortable as it went on. And I feel like we've been going for a while. To be honest, I think this has gone on for at least like 2 hours.
Yeah. And
so that's a good first one.
Yeah, learn that we can speak on it. And you can learn other things from us too. I hope you learned something. And
feel free to comment and let us know if there's anything you want us to talk about too. Obviously, this is a new thing for us. We're going to try to do this every Friday. I know, and I've heard that with these podcasts and with stuff like this, consistency is always key. So we're going to try to do our best to be as consistent as humanly possible. Yeah. Like I said, if there's something that happens on a Friday that we just can't, then we just can't. But unless there's almost an apocalypse or something like that, or a family situation, we're going to try to be here every Friday to do something like this. So feel free to have an input or anything like that.
Yeah. So leave a comment. Hopefully we build a community of like-minded, different-minded individuals that want to come together. Let's listen to what we have to say. Listen to what everyone else has to say. And if you have something that you heard that you want to expand upon, you have something that you didn't hear that you want to hear from us, or heck, if you have just something to say, we encourage you to speak on it with us.
Let us know. So this has been Speak On It, and I am Trevor Keenan.
I'm Jake Keenan. Speak On It with the Keenan Boys.
See you next time.
Bye.